All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to the Gunner Technology Livestream, a weekly tech talk for non-techies and techies alike. I'm your host, Derry Merkins. With me is CEO of Gunner Technology, Cody Swan. What's up, Cody?
Not much. I was just trying to work out something in my head, which was what I could go longer without, the internet or coffee. And I haven't
You know,
really.
I gave up caffeine for Lent, so I'll
uh,
say coffee for me.
I don't do well when I give up coffee. It's always like a 2-day withdrawal period, and then after that, I just kind of am flat anyway.
You know, it wasn't too bad this time. I'm usually the same way, but for some reason, the transition period to no coffee wasn't as bad. It's just the lack of coffee, the perpetual lack of coffee, really wears you down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I don't even I don't even remember the longest I've gone without caffeine. I was on medication, some antibiotic a long time ago that required me not to be on caffeine while I was
Uh-huh.
taking it. So that's the last time I remember. That must have been maybe a decade ago, and it was like a 2 week, it was like a 2 week period or something like that.
I mean, yeah, this will be 46 days, so that'll be the longest I've gone since high school, probably.
Yeah, it's just yeah,
It's
man.
tough. It's tough. I I think I could actually go without the internet for a while, though. Might be kind of
I mean,
nice.
it depends on what capacity. We actually can't because of our jobs.
Well,
But
yeah, I guess like excluding like the day-to-day functionality. If you couldn't
yeah,
use the internet outside of that, I could probably do that for a little
I
while.
I don't know. I was laying in bed last night, and I'm still getting over this stupid cold, so I'm sitting there coughing, and so I start like asking Alexa questions just to see what she knows. I'm like, Alexa, name the presidents in order, which she can do. She can do it, but she has no
She's so
comment on.
talented.
She has no comment on Jeff Bezos, which I think is interesting. And I asked her.
Oh, there's a good conspiracy theory.
I asked her if she likes working for Amazon, and she had no comment on that as well.
Oh my goodness. Maybe
I
Alexa's
know.
becoming self-aware. She's like she's biding her time so she
Yeah,
can take over.
totally, totally. It was
Well, this is part 10 of our 10-part biz dev series. We made it.
man, we've come. Can you hear Alexa? Alexa, stop, because she's naming the presidents in order. Alexa,
Oh,
stop.
sh-
She heard me say it again, so she was
Alexa, no.
no.
Bad Alexa.
I got Alexa and Siri to talk to each other the other day. I made like Siri say something that Alexa repeated, which made Siri trigger back. It was pretty funny. I only got three back and forth.
It's the
I have an
it's the
exciting
small
life.
things.
I have an
It's the
exciting
little
life.
things in life that really make it worth it. But I guess we can go ahead and dive into this week's episode. The winner of the Country Store giveaway. Country Store is a lifestyle brand for anyone who loves the outdoors. You can visit them at countryshoreoutfitters.com and sign up for the giveaway on our Facebook page. The winner of the Country Store giveaway is Bill V from Atlanta, Georgia. So, Bill, you've got Country Store hat heading your way, along with copies of our ebooks, which we have a new ebook dropping next week. So you'll get a copy of that as well. Make sure to send that along. Anyone who didn't win this week can sign up on our Facebook page. And while you're on our Facebook page, answer our question of the week, which this past week was, gosh dang it.
What would
I
you
had
rather
it
give up,
too.
coffee or the internet?
That should be that. We'll do that week after next. No, this week was, do you use Smart Compose and autocomplete for Gmail?
Yes, that's it. That's it.
And it was a 50-50 split between people who do use that and people who don't. So another like right down the middle 50-50 split.
Huh. I wonder if our polling is as bad as Gallup's, or if it's like more accurate. Are we gonna get like a surprise Donald Trump guest visit from our polls one
I want to say our polls are the most accurate polls.
time?
I think we should probably start doing political polls right around I guess, my gosh, we're so close to the next election season.
Oh, the Democrats are already launching their entire field. I saw Beto O'Rourke announced his candidacy today, so that should be
Was that
probably
the
everyone who's going to run.
isn't that the guy who lost in Texas?
He lost in Texas. Yes, he did, which is surprising. But there's been a lot of presidents who have lost a senatorial seat or bid and gone on to run for president. I say a lot. I mean, there's like two that I know of, so a heck of a lot. Um, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I
Can you
don't know.
name them? I know Nixon lost the presidential election, then
I
later
think
won.
right. I think Nixon may have been one of them, and I think who was the other guy? I just heard it
Ask
on a
Alexa. She's right there.
yeah, right. Alexa, what president won the office after losing a Senate seat? Nah, nah. She's probably because I'm wrong. She's like, I don't want to embarrass you live
Yeah.
on air.
Well, let me think about that one.
But yeah, he
we
lost
should
to
do
Ted
some
Cruz.
political polling, I think, coming up.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, I have to read this headline as I was checking out. I always check for tech headlines right before we go on, just to see if there's anything worth mentioning. But this Boeing 737 Max, the headline says Boeing's fix for 737 Max may take 3 to 6 months. Bank of America predicts. Why is Bank of America predicting? Like, they can't even fix their ATMs. I mean,
Yeah.
why are they predicting when Boeing's going to fix their jumbo jets? Like, my goodness,
Hardee's
man.
predicts
Again,
it may take as long as 8 months.
I mean, this is right in line with our polling accuracy right here.
That's crazy.
The Gunner Technology, according to the Gunner Technology poll, Boeing will be.
There's a 50-50 chance it'll be done in 4 months. Speaking of our poll, the next poll, and speaking of news too, I saw in the news, this is how much I'm on social media, but Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp all went down. I think the reason was Zuckerberg is trying to like coordinate all three and integrate them more closely. So I think they pushed something up that broke everything. So they were down for large parts of the day yesterday. And the question of the week this week is, did you notice and or care? So hop on our Facebook page, ironically, and answer that poll. I'm curious to see if anyone noticed.
You know what's really funny? You know, it's really, really funny is I only maintain a Facebook account because you have to have a Facebook account to like run our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So, but I don't do it under my real name. I do it under an assumed name, who just has like enough friends to make it look like it's a real account, so Facebook doesn't ban this person. And I just wanted to test something related to our account. And so I logged on as my fake account and just commented on someone else's post or whatever. And I got an error, like, can't do that. You can't do that right now. And I'm like, Facebook has changed a lot. Like,
Facebook has changed a lot.
Like, they're banning me from, I think I was just trying to post an emoji. I was like, Facebook won't even let me post an emoji. They really are restricting free speech here.
Yeah, Facebook's in trouble. That's why they're transitioning to cryptocurrency. Like that'll stay.
And they're going all in on private and then encryption. I mean, it's weird. I don't want to say that we're always right, but we're pretty much always right. And we did predict that of the FANG companies, Facebook was going to be the first to fall.
And so far, it looks like they are. Which, you know, the only loss there would be that people couldn't watch our videos on Facebook. Which would be a big loss. And we couldn't do our polls. We'd have to find a new polling solution.
Yeah, we couldn't do our 2-option polls. We'd have to move to Twitter. We could do as many options as you want.
Our 2 options where it's limited to 60 characters for the answer. Or something like that. Maybe even 40. Anyways, it's an awesome site. Love Facebook. But let's go ahead and dive into this week's topic, which is kind of just a wrap up. We're going to go through a bunch of tips and tricks. The other topic that we might have talked about, and maybe we can just spend 5 minutes talking about it, is how to hire for biz dev. Because a lot of our stuff is internal. You know, we don't really sort of outsource it or hire new people. We're sort of jacks of all trades at Gunner Technology. But do you have any tips and tricks for hiring folks for biz dev?
Yeah. So this, number one, especially in the job market as it is right now, if you're planning on hiring a salesperson on straight commission, pretty much forget about it. Like, that's a pipe dream. Either you're going to get someone who just came off the street from like a meth binge, or you're going to get someone who just doesn't know how to do anything anyway. Those two might not be mutually exclusive, or they may be.
Or both.
So basically, just give up on that whole notion of going straight commission. Now, I totally recommend you give like a kind of a base level salary, and then obviously have tiers of commission from there. Like, make it a very commission driven salary schedule, but have that base salary, you know, and it doesn't have to be a lot, 25, 35,000 a year. And then with performance escalators. And so that's a big thing when hiring, is to work out. It's funny because this all comes back to what I'm going to say is the biggest tip, but work out exactly what that compensation structure is going to be. Like for a salesperson, it all comes down to people signing up, like who sign on the dotted line. So not only do you want to give them a percentage of the commission, like 10% for every client, but if they get past a certain stage in revenue, that multiplier goes to like 15%. And if they tier up again, it goes to 20%, something like that. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is also don't expect, especially if you're going to have like a low base salary. Like if your base salary is like $100,000, $200,000, you can expect to just be like, hey, we're going to hire you and you're going to do your thing. You're going to take over our biz dev department, run our sales team, rather. You're going to run our sales team. You're going to do everything. Mm-hmm. But if you're paying that $25,000, $35,000 base salary, you're going to have to like say to the salesperson, this is how we do sales at our company. This is what we expect you to do. And within this system, you know, work your magic, but this is our system.
Set out the procedures, set up expectations, be more explicit in terms of what they need to do.
Right, exactly. Who's going to do what? Like if your role is like, again, if we talked about the different roles involved in biz dev and in how some companies, a salesperson will do sales and prospecting, sales and networking. So you want to have those, like you're going to be responsible for prospecting. You're going to be responsible for sales. You're going to be responsible for networking, because that gives a person an understanding of what their day-to-day is going to be like. And then again, their bonus structure is based on closes, but you have to say, in order to get to, if you want to have a good chance of tearing up, you're going to need, and I don't mean like crying, I mean like reaching the next tier.
TIER.
If you're going to want to have a chance of tearing up, I suggest you watch The Notebook at least 4 times a week. No, I don't even know if that's a sad movie. That's the one that came to mind.
Watch the new Winnie the Pooh movie. It's like a nostalgia bomb.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one yet. So in order to make it from tier to tier, we expect you, what we found to be successful is if you make at least five appointments a week, you make at least 50 cold calls a week. You put this information into CRM, you spend this much time updating your contacts in CRM, you spend this much time going through email addresses. Like you have to provide structure. Otherwise, especially someone, again, who's like that entry-level salesperson, you know, is really hungry, which is great, really hungry, but doesn't have structure. They're just going to kind of flounder in that role.
So maybe we should go through each episode and maybe do like our top tip and or trick for each topic.
Yeah, and I think based on what I just said about hiring, is it really does all come back to structure. Like structure and metrics. We talk about this all the time.
Exactly, reporting and analytics.
Exactly, because otherwise, like if you're not doing analytics, how are you going to hire someone and tell them how to be successful? Because you don't know. You have no idea. You're like, we found that if we kind of mess around on Facebook for a while and post some stuff, that eventually people find us. Like, no, that's not going to help someone be successful as like as a salesperson. You need to say like, post on LinkedIn at these times, and you should also find other people on LinkedIn and comment on their posts. And here's how we found it's good to find other people on LinkedIn in our target market, kind of thing. And so you have to have those analytics to back up your recommendations. So the biggest tip of all this is like process and metrics.
Yeah, track stuff ruthlessly.
Yeah. Yep.
How about for marketing? Number one
marketing
tip and or trick for marketing.
Marketing. So I think that again, the metrics thing holds, but that like
good creative, maybe.
I was gonna say, yeah, creative. Take some risks.
Yeah, there you go.
And also understand that it is a marathon, not a sprint, man. And it's hard. Like it's sort of like we said with sales, like call that person back 7 times because everyone else is only calling them back 2 or 3 times. So your competition drops off. Same thing with marketing. Like you're going to get on social media and you're going to start posting stuff, and no one's going to like it. No one's going to comment on it. No one's going to share it. But you keep going because your competition is dropping off. So you keep going, and eventually you start building an audience. Now, it's if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, you're not going to get an audience. But the trick is to combine that, or the tip is to combine that with metrics to see, okay, we posted 500 times and one thing worked, what is it about that one thing? Was it time of day? Was it the message?
Yeah.
Why did that one thing work when nothing else worked? And then do more of the stuff that worked.
How many variables should you track when you're doing marketing stuff?
Um,
I
that's
guess as many as you can effectively.
Yeah. Well, again, it's always more about like backing into it and saying like, here's our goal. Like, here's our goal is to get someone to download this white paper, right? And so, how do we get people to download this white paper? And then you back into it from like the last goal all the way up to like all the way back down to sub goals. And so, then that'll tell you what you need to track in order to answer those questions of what needs to happen.
Yep.
So, like, especially digital marketing, where they came from is the biggest thing you need to know is where do they enter your funnel from, and
Yep.
then how long did it take them to move down the various steps in the funnel, kind of thing.
On that point, once you know where they came from, do you focus more on the referral that's effective, or do you try and make the referrals that weren't effective more effective? What should be the first step?
Um,
Do you know what I mean?
rephrase that again.
So say all your traffic is coming from Facebook.
Yep.
Do you focus all your efforts on Facebook, or do you focus your efforts on making the other channels more effective?
No, 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 no. It's the whole 80-20 thing. Like, you put your effort into what's working, kind of thing, until it's not working anymore. So if Facebook is like producing for you, throw more money into Facebook until you find that point of negative returns, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I
Like,
think that's a mistake people make a lot, is that they get so hooked on trying to make everything work, they completely miss the fact that something might be working perfectly.
yeah, and the only thing I would say is don't jump the gun too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, and this is why it's important to have micro goals. Because, for example, like,
You might have a viral post or something that sort of skews the numbers.
right, exactly. And like, if you're tracking things, you can see that maybe it's that let's take LinkedIn, for example. You're on LinkedIn and you haven't got one referral, but you're tracking it meticulously, and you notice that you're actually getting a lot of people up into that last step in the funnel. And maybe something's actually broken with your funnel that people have trouble completing that conversion. And so you're like, oh, LinkedIn sucks. We don't get anything from LinkedIn. But actually, all you may need to do is tweak that last step, and the floodgates will open.
Yep.
So that's why tracking is important as well.
How about prospecting?
Prospecting, organization and diligence is a big one.
Have a good pickaxe.
Yeah, and I would say also, like, if you're unless you're working for a big company, you're probably not dedicated to prospecting. That's probably not your only job role. And so my tip there is to kind of segment your days into certain tasks. And like, Mondays could be prospecting. And that's when you just crack open the CRM and you go through all the unsorted contacts and you start doing research and start like basically creeping on these people to get information about them, about their company, filling in the CRM filling in the CRM profile on that person. And you just spend all day Monday doing all of that stuff.
So it really is about getting in a mindset, getting in a prospecting mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Driving those stakes home, which I started watching Deadwood, and they were doing prospecting, or old school prospecting. And I was like, yeah, we talked.
Yeah, that first season, Gold's a big plot point, because doesn't that guy find a load up on a waterfall or something and then gets pushed off?
No. So this guy from New York, he gets tricked into buying what is supposedly a dry plot. Al Swearington tricks him into buying.
Yeah.
And then he's threatening Al to like go get his people from back north and come get his money back. So Al sends one of his henchmen to say, look, I think you're wrong. I think there is gold up there. So I'm going to send this guy with you. He's going to take you up there. He's going to show you where to look for the gold. And his henchman throws him off the top of the mountain. And then his henchman goes down to see if he's dead and notices that he like landed on a huge like thing of gold. And
that's right. Yeah.
And so the rest of the season, Al tries to trick his widow into selling him back the plot.
That's right.
Yeah.
God bless Swearingen. A great character. A lot of the stuff for prospecting applies to sales too, I would imagine.
For sure. And so again, we always have to talk about what we're dealing with in terms of, because a lot of times networking and sales bleeds over, and so sales and networking is all about like appointments, like contacting people. And again, depending on your role in the company, you may be doing like wireframes to illustrate what you're trying to sell to them or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think the same tip holds there, is divvy up your time. Like, make your appointments on Monday and have your appointments on Friday. So call all your network, see how they're doing, and then try to set them up for like appointments on Friday, kind of thing, or whatever the day is that you want to have your appointments.
What's the key factor that takes you from networking to sales?
So well, it's kind of like who are you networking with, and so it's basically the key differential is your goal. And so with networking, your goal is to find someone who you can sell to. When you're doing sales, you're actually are trying to sell them on something. So a lot of the same things carry over. You're going to be meeting with the people. You're going to be explaining about your company. You're going to be trying to get them to like you, but the overarching goal is different. So, and a lot of times when you're just meeting someone for the first time, which is networking, that may turn into a sales opportunity, or it may turn into a referral.
Gotcha. Talk about nurturing for a little bit. Any tips or tricks there? That's
Yeah.
sort of
So
that's sort of the long term uh, state of the sales process.
yeah, and nurturing. So you hear about like nurturing your leads, nurturing your network, and nurturing your clients. And so nurturing leads is something we didn't really touch on, which it's because basically that just means like we roll that up into prospecting. Again, different terms for different things. That's covered under prospecting for us. But so nurturing clients, that's the big one that we talked about. And that's like, again, that's like networking, but like networking with clients. So when we have this networking umbrella, you can think of it as like you're networking for referrals, you're networking for sales, or you're networking for client or with clients, kind of thing. And so the clients thing is you're just making sure they're taken care of, and you're constantly asking them for referrals. And again, you're kind of like celebrating your wins together and kind of building a relationship with your existing client base and trying to expand your client base from your existing clients.
And in terms of nurturing that relationship, what are the sort of best practices there? Is it, you know, gifts? Is it I'm not sure. Like, what's the best way to sort of express your appreciation for the client?
Yeah, it's like in the nurturing phase, we talked about how like you don't want to this doesn't carry over into every phase of the working relationship, but think about it as like if you were a good friend. What do you do for a good friend? You check in on them, you send them gifts on holidays and their birthdays, you ask them for help. It's basically treat your client in the nurturing phase like they're a good friend. That's the biggest tip I can say. And if you don't know how to be a good friend, then I'm not sure. Like, talk to Alexa and ask her how to be a good friend.
Alexa, how do I be a good friend? How about valuing your services? We just talked about that last week, but any tips or tricks there?
Yeah, and our big tip was to kind of hold firm on your price and offer more discounts for like length of the contract. If you're a product-based company, add more discounts for the more you purchase. Try to hold steady on your price, and then get creative with discounts. Like we said, think of yourselves like a car dealership, but with transparency. Whereas like they'll keep just throwing out random discounts. A client or a prospect can just go and see your pricing model and actually adjust it themselves to figure out how they want to fit into that. So that's my biggest tip is to hold firm on your price. Don't be scared to raise your price if you have to. Don't do it too often. But offer discounts and hold firm on your base price.
We have a question here from way back. I'm not doing my job. What's the best way to get hired for biz dev?
I thought you were gonna say, "What's the best way to get high?" And I was like,
That's going way back.
that's going way back. So the what we look for is someone who we don't look for established people. We look for people who are really young and hungry and who we can kind of train up. So from our perspective, the best way to get hired is to like be hungry and also be like show diligence, because we want to see like how many people did you call, who did you call, who did you go to meeting with, what'd you say to them, Why did it go right? Why did it go wrong? So we want to see a combination of hunger and diligence from our applicants, and how you express that is kind of unique to yourself, but is unique to yourself. I don't think it can be kind of unique. It's unique to yourself. So like that, you express that in the interview or in your work samples.
Yeah,
or
I was going to
whatever.
say, I think you can sort of look at people's track records and see long-term projects, stuff that they, even a college degree where they maybe had a double major and they were also playing on an athletic team or something like that. Something where they stuck to something for a long time.
And really, I mean,
I was just going to say, it doesn't have to necessarily be related to biz dev either, in terms of a track record of diligence and hunger.
right. And I mean, the thing is like, it's like kind of like the end of Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like, sell me this pen.
Yep.
Like in an interview, you're selling yourself. Like that's the great opportunity to kind of showcase your skills in persuasion kind of thing.
I'm trying to think, what's the last
What's the
episode?
best tip for a tip? The best tip?
What's the best trick for a tip? Reporting and metrics was the last episode that we haven't talked about yet in terms of
and we kind of touched on that. And the biggest tip is to start.
I mean, really all comes back to reporting and metrics at the end of the day.
Right. And my best tip for that is to start at the end, start at the goal. Here's what we want. We want people to fill out this contact form and then work your way back from there. That is my biggest tip for that. It just don't start at the beginning and be like, how do we get to the end? Start at the end and work your way back to the beginning.
Piece by piece until you finally get there.
Exactly.
Any final tips and tricks for the biz dev process as we sort of wrap up this 10-part series?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of stuff, man. We went through everything. And
the biz dev series book will be out too within the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that.
And that's going to be, as they say, huge.
Simply huge.
Yes. No, I think we covered a lot of stuff, but I guess something else is to like kind of like celebrate your own achievements. Make sure that like we said, commission is the greatest reward for a salesperson. But everyone in your company can be in on the biz dev process. They can facilitate the biz dev process. So make sure you're giving credit where credit's due, because it's not just the person who closes; it's all the way up the chain, and in a lot of cases across the entire organization that make sales happen.
And definitely rewarding success is a big one, because people do earn it. I mean, at the end of the day, if they're bringing in business, they've earned it.
Right. Exactly.
So I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Gunner Technology Livestream and this 10-part series of the Gunner Technology Livestream. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, but make sure to tune in then to find out. It'll be some new 10-part series, that's for sure.
We'll just talk with Alexa.
It'll be a 10-part Alexa series where we just ask her absurd questions. Like if Jeff Bezos is nice in person. I have no comment on that. So anyways, tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time for the next episode. You can hop on our Facebook page and sign up for the Country Shore giveaway. Country Shore is a lifestyle brand for anyone who loves the outdoors. Visit them at countryshoreoutfitters.com and answer our question of the week, which this week is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp went down on Wednesday. Did you notice and or care? Hop on our Facebook page, again, ironically, and answer that to answer poll. And sign up for the Country Shore giveaway. What's that?
Why do you think it's so hard to remember the question of the week?
I don't know.
Like people.
It's a strange mental block.
It really is. It's almost like self-fulfilling. Like I don't know. It's so weird. Like I'm really good with names, unless I'm not. Like if I catch your name the first time, I will never forget it. Like I will look at people I haven't seen since high school, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's Dan. But like if I don't catch your name the first time, I will never ever remember it. It's so weird. Memory is a weird thing, man. It's
weird very strange. So hop on our Facebook page and remind us to remember the question of the week. You can catch the blog post for this episode at gunnertech.com. The podcast will be available on iTunes. Grab our ebooks on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, Kobo, and anywhere else ebooks are sold. And tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time for the next episode in the next 10-part series of the Gunner Technology Livestream. I'm Derry. That's Cody. We'll see you next week.